This morning on Daybreak, Alaska's next governor is about to make history. I'm Liz Raines, live in Noorvik with what it takes to swear a governor into office in rural Alaska.
And slick roads this morning, rain and snow. I'll let you know how that's going to slow you down as you head out the door.
Schools in Anchorage closed for the week, set to reopen December 10th. What the ASD superintendent has to say about safety protocol and rebuilding. And despite the massive damage, Matsu roads open for travel. Heather Hinsey shows us who's working hard to keep that traffic flowing. Grab the coffee, hug your loved ones. It's time for Daybreak.
And now from KTVA 11 News, this is Daybreak.
Good morning. You have no idea how good it is to be with you this morning. I'm John Thompson.
I'm Jeremy Lagoon. Thank you for waking up with Daybreak on this Monday morning. And you know, John, for a lot of folks, they're not even going to work. They're not going to school. We are still a long way from being back to normal.
Oh, man. Like I said, it's just good to see you. Good to see you. Mm-hmm. Glad, no serious injuries. There may have been a couple, but no deaths. It's time to rebuild. Alaska strong all weekend long.
It's quite amazing. You know, I'm relatively new here, and I've never felt so much a part of a community before in my life. And I'd just like to thank everyone out there for being so great through this. Yeah,
and the outpouring of love. The outpouring of love around the world. When we were Facebook Living Friday, immediately after the earthquake, the kindness, the love, the thoughts, the prayers from not just here in America, all over the world. We do thank you very, very much. And
and before we dive into the weather, let's just take a moment of science and just go, hey, aftershocks are normal. They will weaken over time. We are still feeling some of those. We're all still scared. It's that little PTSD. I'm diving under desks and everything around me still, just in the wake of it all. But this is normal. This is expected, and this will continue for a little while longer.
Oh, man. I want to hug it out. Hug it out. Wish I could hug each and every one of you, too, right now.
Well, there we go.
Let's say we talk a little weather. Let's get this thing going.
Let's go in. Let's talk about that weather. Let's break it down for you back at home, because we are still looking at weather continuing. It doesn't take a break just because we had an earthquake. Now, right now, we're at 38 degrees. We're at 37 just minutes ago. It is jumping back and forth. We're in the upper 30s. That meant that all of that rain last night was just that, and not snow. However, as you get up into the valley, different story. Look at those temperatures, 32 and 33 in Wasilla and Palmer. That meant that they got a wet, heavy snow, a couple of inches of snow on the ground in Palmer. Now it's kind of changing over to a little light mist on the side of rain more than sleet there for those folks. And then as you get out to the eastern portion of Prince William Sound, that's the remnants of it. Look at this. This thing is done and moving out, and that's going to allow skies to clear. And as we get into the afternoon, we're actually looking at cooler temperatures. Notice that big break between what's going on in the Aleutians and what we are dealing with right now. That break is going to be our clearing skies. So as we move on through the day, that's where we're looking at 34 degrees this afternoon. Morning showers break up and move out, but this is 34 degrees this afternoon. So, John, I actually will be a little bit cooler this afternoon than we are right now.
And if it was cold last night, we would have got that foot of snow, right? Is that kind of how
that's just it. It was all about that cold air. It didn't quite hit us in time, so unfortunately it just fell as rain.
All right. Thanks, Jer. Appreciate it. SWAT is on the scene of a shooting and a homicide investigation in South Anchorage. It all started when police say an officer spotted a suspicious vehicle in the area of 82nd and Hartzell around 1:30 this morning. Police say a man standing near the car took off running when he saw the police car, and when more officers arrived, they heard shots being fired at a warehouse at 1630 East 82nd Avenue. Police found a man on the ground dead outside. Officers then gave commands for anyone to come inside the warehouse, or that went inside the warehouse, to come out. After that, a man with a gunshot wound came out and was transported to the hospital. 3 more adults came out from the warehouse after that, and they were taken to the police department for questioning. A 5th individual who was hiding in the yard failed to comply with the officers. SWAT on scene right now trying to deal with that person. Police are asking you to avoid the area. Again, 82nd and Hartzell. That's near Abbott Road in South Anchorage. The declaration of civil emergency has been extended to Tuesday evening as city leaders continue to assess earthquake damage, allowing Mayor Ethan Berkowitz to impose a curfew and order evacuations in any part of the city. He says the extension is necessary as Anchorage deals with the damage. And as you may have heard, all schools in the Anchorage School District are closed for the week due to earthquake damage, reopening Monday, December the 10th. That announcement made by ASD Superintendent Dr. Dina Bishop Sunday afternoon. KTVA's Scott Gross was at the press conference and explains the safety protocol the district is undergoing to make sure that your students are safe.
This afternoon, Anchorage School District Superintendent Dr. Dina Bishop announced all schools in the district closed for the next week.
I'm keeping schools closed through Friday, December 7th.
The extra days will better help assess and clean up the damage.
Thank you.
The fire suppression systems that are in our buildings, many of them went off. And so the damage isn't structural, if you would. It's really damage due to water and just ceiling tiles falling down.
Later in the day, a tour of Bartlett High School that shows just how extensive some of the cleanup and repairs really are.
We're having a hard time sourcing enough ceiling tile to complete all of our schools, but we're going to secure lights and tiles and just do as many as we can, and then we're going to go from there.
Because of that, the district decided it needed more time.
Wednesday might have been a little aggressive on some of the schools, but now with the additional time, we're trying to do the best we can to get every school open.
Around 100 people are tasked with cleanup and reconstruction of 4,000 classrooms.
They are very deliberate because the goal is we're not going back into a building that isn't for sure secure and safe.
Once a building is deemed safe, it's green tagged and safe enough to enter, although there is a process to get to that status.
Schools move from red to yellow or amber to green.
Bartlett started as a red tag and is now elevated to amber.
Red line, that doesn't mean, or red tag, that a school is taken offline totally. It means that it is not ready for regular occupancy, for teachers to come back in. We have not had any information that any school is done.
Of the district's 92 facilities, over 60 have had walkthroughs.
Tomorrow we look to have more and more information for our public in regard to where is my school in my neighborhood.
There's a lot of information and debris to sort through. ASD says they're up for the challenge. Scott Gross, KTVA 11 News.
Now in the Mat-Su-Borough School District, all schools will be closed today and also tomorrow, except for the schools on your screen. The Mat-Su-Borough will hold a press conference at 2 o'clock this afternoon to give an update on damage. Well, the earthquake hasn't derailed plans for a historic swearing-in ceremony of Governor-elect Mike Dunleavy. Daybreak's own Liz Raines is in Noorvik this morning, where the event is scheduled to take place here in just a few hours, joining us live with why this location is symbolic for both the nation and for Alaska. Good morning, Liz.
Good morning, John. Well, this is the first time that a U.S. governor will be sworn in above the Arctic Circle, but it's also the first time that an Alaska governor has chosen to hold the ceremony in a rural community. It's going to be happening right here in the gym of the village school, which is named after Dunleavy's late father-in-law. As we've been talking to people here in Noorvik, many are excited about what all of this attention on their town could mean for its future. Surrounded by snow and ice for miles sits the village of Noorvik, a name that in Inupiaq means a place that is moved to, a place rich in caribou and fish, where many live off what the land provides.
People move from different areas to Noorvik. Like there's people from Deering, and I'm from Sungnak originally.
Vern Cleveland is mayor of the town of just over 600 people. So what did you think when you heard that the governor was going to be holding his ceremony here in Noorvik?
Wow! I mean, that's going to put Noorvik on the map, you know. And I thought about it and I said, I bet that there's some folks out there Googling where Noorvik is at.
In case you're wondering, this is where Noorvik is on the map, about 54 miles east of Kotzebue, a hub village of the Northwest Arctic Borough, above the Arctic Circle. Alaska's new governor will make U.S. history as the first to be sworn in this far north. Noorvik is expected to double in size on the big day, and village police are increasing security, adding officers and working longer shifts.
We've never had a governor swearing here before. This is something new. We don't know how many people will be here. It makes us feel important, and everybody feels that way. It makes us feel more important, more recognized by the state. With
the spotlight on rural Alaska, many here hope the governor takes note of the challenges that come along with daily life, and Mayor Cleveland is hoping for more funding.
I hope that he looked at us and said that we're the ones that need to help the most in our rural areas, because the high cost of living in our area is very tremendously high.
And speaking of high costs, it takes a lot of money to put on a ceremony of this size in Noorvik. Mayor Cleveland tells us that just the food alone costs about $15,000. Now, originally he says that Nana Corporation asked him whether Noorvik could bear those costs, but he had to tell them that it just can't. And so it appears that the regional corporation will be paying for at least part of the cost of the ceremony. As for the ceremony itself, John, there's a lot of excitement here. The school held a rehearsal yesterday, and people worked long hours in the kitchen, volunteers preparing food, all for this historic moment.
What a scene. I bet it's going to be amazing today. And Liz, now this is not the first time that Noorvik has made history, is that right?
That's right. They were the first town that was counted in the 2010 census. And so a lot of people have been talking about that, talking about how this is a similar feeling. They're preparing for a big influx of visitors, the spotlight, just like they did 8 years ago.
All right, very exciting. Thank you very much. Liz Raines live in Noorvik. We'll check back in with her in just a little bit.